greatest anime of all time has been dethroned, and people aren't happy about it. Full Metal Alchemist, the widely acclaimed perfect anime that's ruled as king for over a decade, was taken out by a show that has barely any plot. Which is weird, because claiming the #1 spot on my anime list is like the highest honor an anime can have. It's a big deal. Any show that makes it up there instantly becomes a must-watch for the 103 million users on the site every month. So, how did this happen? How did boring old Frieren claw her way to the top? She cheated. We'll get there. Before that, I got a confession. Frieren's not actually the first show to beat out Full Metal Alchemist. There's been at least 5 animes that hit rank 1 over the years, but they never lost. After a month or two, they always, without fail, get smacked back down the rankings by the GOAT. Does this mean Frieren's days are numbered? Why bother making a video if she's just gonna get dumpstered like everyone else in a few months? Because this time's different. It's been almost a year, and Frieren's still sitting pretty at #1. It's not even close.
That's quite big.
So yeah, a lot of people think she's here to stay as the one true king of anime. And I have a problem with that. See, I've seen the show, and yeah, okay, it's pretty good. But is it objectively better than every anime ever made in the history of anime ever? You tell me. The show isn't like many others. We join our heroes at the end of their grand adventure, after they've beaten the Demon Lord, after their names get scored into history books. Imagine playing a new Pokemon game, but instead of spawning in Pallet Town, you start in the Hall of Fame with a party full of legendaries. Sounds pretty sweet, but what do you do now? Well, Frieren spends her time helping traveling merchants cross the road and cleaning up statues for nice old ladies. It's basically side quests, the anime. Boring. Hate all you want. She doesn't care. Frieren keeps this up for decades. She's still turning in side quests up to the moment her old hero buddies start expiring. There's more to it, obviously, but this is generally the vibe of the show. So let me ask you again. Is this the best of what anime has to offer? Does this beat out the mind-bending plot of Attack on Titan? The 5D Gigabrain mystery of Death Note? How about the comedic ingenuity of One Punch Man? Probably not, right? So then, why is the anime world glazing this 1,000-year-old elf so hard? How did she cheat her way to the top? To answer that, we need to first understand what makes us like a show in the first place. According to Steven Spielberg, good stories make people feel something. According to Dan Harmon, the Rick and Morty guy, they gotta transform. Ask the late great Stan Lee, and he'll tell you it's relatability that sells. Frieren, the show, is really good at doing 2 of these things, but it's on a whole nother level with the third. Himmel, one of the heroes, dies in episode 1, which, to be honest, I didn't really feel, because we knew nothing about the guy back then. But with each flashback, we learn a little more about him. We care a little more. And out of nowhere, it starts to hurt, man. The longing feeling in our chest echoes every time we see him through Frieren's memories, making his death feel heavier with each episode. It's great! Emotions are powerful. They have to be. They're what's been keeping us alive through millions of years of evolution. Anger helped us fight better. Fear kept us on our toes. And love? That's how you and me were born, buddy. Before humanity learned to speak, before we learned to think, we relied on emotions to guide us. And good stories like Frieren exploit that evolutionary loophole. They force us to care about what's going on screen by hijacking our emotions and making us feel for these characters. And once we're hooked, the characters take us on a journey with the end goal of transforming us, inspiring us to change. When we first meet Frieren, she's aloof, unfeeling almost. She doesn't bother with humans. Why would she? To a 1,000-year-old elf, humans are like little babies that never make it to adulthood. Not stonks. But after Himmel dies, he was her favorite person. She changes. She starts to realize the value of connection, and over time, learns to cherish her relationships as fleeting as they may be. And that beautiful transformation in Frieren inspires us to do the same. Stories are really something, aren't they? They've been around for as long as humans could speak. Biologists believe that stories were humanity's way of passing down useful information through the generations before we learned how to read and write. So we've evolved to pay attention to stories, to find meaning in them, and to use them to transform our lives for the better. But for us to feel emotions, for us to want to transform, we first have to relate to the stories. And this is where Frieren starts hacking. The show oozes relatability on multiple levels. On the surface, we all know what it's like to have lost, to realize too late the value of our relationships and have them slip through our fingers. But it's more than that. Frieren taps into a deeper, almost unconscious need in all of us. In today's world, everyone's busy. If you're not waking up at 6 a.m. and grinding for 12 hours straight every day till you have 10 streams of income, you're doing it wrong. It's cool to have no free time. It's fashionable to be wired on caffeine. It's making me anxious, man. And we're all being swept up in this wave of hustle culture to some degree or another. I'm exhausted, cries a small voice inside us. When will it end? Pleads another. Frieren speaks to these repressed parts of us in a way no other show does. Its slow-paced style, unburdened by pressure and expectation, is exactly the kind of catharsis we unconsciously yearn for. And that's Frieren's secret. See, it's hard to out-shonen the champ. That's why shows who try never succeed. Plots can only get so intricate. Fights, so action-packed. Boobs, so jiggly. So how do you beat the perfect anime? By changing the name of the game. By cheating. I mean, you're not gonna beat Magnus Carlsen in a game of chess. But what if you take him to World of Warcraft? That's what Frieren did. Instead of epic boss battles, we get quiet conversations by the river. Instead of characters powering up, they learn to be vulnerable. What if instead of complicating, you simplify? What if instead of trying to excite, you relax? Then maybe, just maybe, you'll have a chance. Still don't know if it's #1 of all time though. Just saying.